When we woke up on this Thursday morning, all of Bermuda was under a tropical storm watch thanks to the approach of Hurricane Sam. And when we want to get the latest forecast at the end of the day, we turn to our friends at the Bermuda Weather Service and its director, Dr. Mark Guishard, who's joining us live now to give us the latest information on Hurricane Sam and its potential threat to Bermuda. So, Dr. Guishard, what's the latest on this storm, a Category 4?
Good afternoon, Glenn, and thank you for having me. Unfortunately, I can't hear you, so I wonder if there's a technical issue, but I'm nonetheless happy to give an update.
Okay, can you hear me a little bit better now? I'm just going to try again to see if you can hear me. All right, well, we'll turn it over to you for the forecast. Go ahead. Okay.
I guess I'll
go ahead.
carry on and assume everyone can hear me. So as of 3 p.m. today, major Hurricane Sam was located about 600 nautical miles or 685 miles south-southeast of Bermuda, with maximum sustained winds of 125 knots or 145 miles an hour. And that makes it a powerful, very powerful Category 4 storm. It's presently moving northwest at 13 miles an hour, so it's picking up a little bit of speed. And Bermuda is still under a tropical storm watch. And you can, of course, keep up to date on all of these details at weather.bm.
Okay, thanks for that update, Dr. Guishard. This is going to be challenging if you can't hear me, but why don't we put up for now the definition of a tropical storm watch so that people understand exactly what we're talking about for the watch that Bermuda is under right now. We have a graphic that explains that. A tropical storm watch is issued when a tropical storm conditions, including winds 39 to 73 miles per hour, pose a possible threat to a specified coastal area within 48 hours. So that's what we've been told to expect.
Assuming you can still hear me, it's worth noting that we've had a number of potential threats this year that have not resulted in damaging conditions. However, this storm is a potential threat, and just like the watch and warning, potential threat does have a specific definition. One status we haven't gotten to this year yet, thankfully, is hurricane warning. When and if we do get to that stage, it's really going to start blowing hard. But in this particular instance, we're not expecting those conditions. Tropical storm watch, as you rightly put up on the screen there, is when tropical storm force winds may possibly affect Bermuda or the marine area out to 25 nautical miles from the coast within the next 48 hours. So we may very well be upgrading that to a tropical storm warning as Hurricane Sam gets closer and more details firm up. In terms of the forecast itself, expect conditions similar to a winter gale for a short period of time. And right now, that brief period of breeziness is likely to be sometime in the early morning hours of Saturday, anytime between 3 a.m. and 9 a.m. Of course, the timing will firm up the closer Sam gets to us, but for now, that's a reasonable estimate. In terms of the ocean state, we can expect long rollers with long periods between swells to develop from the southeast starting today, and 20-foot seas outside the reef are likely to affect the area from Friday night. Wave heights warranting probably a small craft warning later on are likely after Sam's passage all the way into Sunday morning also. And because Sam is a slightly smaller storm than Larry, then the wave heights have not had as much scope to build out in the Atlantic, but they're still very impressive. And there was a wave buoy near Hurricane Sam's center this morning reporting 40-foot waves. We're not going to see those here in Bermuda, but it speaks to the power of some of these storms.
So just to go back to what you were explaining in terms of the definitions of the watches and warnings, we've seen a tropical storm watch and a tropical storm warning this hurricane season. You rightly point out we have not seen a hurricane watch or a hurricane warning, but I think what all of us are seeing is an increasing amount of storms every hurricane season. So the Bird News team did put together some stats that kind of show this. What you will see is that over the passing decades, the average amount of storms we see each hurricane season is increasing. There's a small move here, 2 more named storm, 1 more hurricane,
So,
the same amount of major hurricanes. And
I
Dr.
guess to
Guishard's
summarize
comment
about Sam, I really want to emphasize these points. We can expect marginal tropical storm force winds late Friday night and into Saturday morning around Sam's closest passage, with large swells and dangerous surf on the South Shore beaches. And although these conditions are not very impactful for us here in Bermuda, I wanted to remind everyone that tropical systems like Hurricane Sam have some uncertainty inherent in their predictions, and that's why we treat them with such caution and scrutiny. We at the BWS, Bermuda Weather Service, issue updates on a routine basis every 3 hours or so. And when there's a watch or warning in place, those 3-hour intermediate advisories come through. And that sort of frequency of update is to catch and convey any rapid changes that might occur. So with that in mind, please, again, I want to remind everyone to check back frequently to weather.bm regularly and listen to advice from the EMO to stay up to date.
All right, if you're just joining us, you're watching Burnew's Stay Ready storm coverage presented by Lindo's group of companies. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties because Dr. Guishard cannot hear me, but I think you were able to get a good listen to his forecast. Hurricane Sam is still about 500 nautical miles away to our south. We expect the closest point of approach to be pre-sunset on Saturday morning. So you have 1.5 sleeps between now and the time that Sam is at its closest approach. We're under a tropical storm watch, which may elevate to a tropical storm warning before we get to that closest point of approach in the wee hours of Saturday morning. So I think that's the latest information on Hurricane Sam that we all need to be aware of. This bears watching. There seems to be confidence that the storm will pass to our east, just as Hurricane Larry did. And if that's the case, it should not pose any serious damage to land in Bermuda, but would be very much a maritime concern for the waters around Bermuda. So that's the latest information on this Burnews Stay Ready storm coverage update. Thanks to Dr. Guishard. We apologize for the technical difficulty, but I think you got the gist of his forecast going into Thursday evening. We're so grateful to our sponsors, Lindo's, Duracell, Ministry of National Security, and Friesenbrook Meyer for helping us to put this content together. You can stay tuned to Burnews for the latest updates and, of course, weather.bm. Thanks very much.